Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Jaci Barton, Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust. Jaci, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Laura.
And Polly Dana-Schumacher, who is a member of the Board of Directors of the Barnstable Land Trust, as well as co-chair of the Barnstable Land Trust's Gifts from the Sea fundraiser coming up on July 19th. Polly, welcome to the show to you.
Oh, good morning to you.
Now, the Barnstable Land Trust has been in place for more than 30 years. Jaci, can you tell me a little bit about the history of this organization?
Yes, the Barnstable Land Trust was founded in the mid-'80s amongst a tremendous building boom by a group of people who really saw the need to preserve the special nature of our community, its wetlands, woodlands, and wildlife. And ever since then, we've been busy assisting the town of Barnstable as well as working on our own to preserve land, and we now have protected over 1,045 acres in the town of Barnstable.
Very impressive. And has the focus these days stayed the same as when it started?
Pretty much. I think there's an ever-increasing focus on water quality, especially coastal water quality, but our drinking water as well, because, of course, that the water underlies everything that we do, and it's really important to preserve the land above it to help filter that fresh water.
And now those 1,000-plus acres that you've already preserved, very impressive, and I would think that that's probably a large percentage of all the acreage that has been preserved in the town of Barnstable. Is that right?
Well, the town of Barnstable.
There's the West Barnstable Conservation Area, which is large, but I'm sure that
the town of Barnstable has done a pretty good job of preserving land in their own right. But there are always people who don't want their land to be held by government, and that's why we exist.
Now, there are big projects of land acquisition that you're always working on, and right now there's one in particular in the village of Cotuit. Tell me about that one.
Yes, this is a really exciting project. This is Keep Lowell Park Green, and it's about preserving 19 acres that surround Lowell Park in Cotuit. Of course, Lowell Park is where the Cotuit Kettleers play, Kettleers being one of the 10 teams that make up the Cape Cod Baseball League. And these 19 acres are wooded. They provide the green backdrop. We like to call it the green wall of trees behind Lowell Park, which is the best batter's eye in Cape Cod. And it overlies the zone of contribution to the Cotuit public water supply, and it's also just 2,000 feet from the Cotuit Bay, which is part of the Three Bay Estuary. So it's a really, really important project, not only for our natural resources, but also for the protecting the field itself.
Now, where does this stand now? Because I know you've been working on fundraising for this for a while, and are there community preservation funds involved as well?
Yes, we're in the home stretch. The town's community preservation fund gave us some $225,000 to help with the project, and we also received funds from the Cotuit Fire District. We are now at the point where we've raised funds from over 1,000 people, and we are in the home stretch with $370,000 left to go, and our deadline is September.
So the deadline is coming right up. And what are you doing over the next couple of months to try to sort of complete that?
We're doing everything we possibly can, Laura. Opening day was Wednesday, and so we're out there at the field educating people about what's happening. We're putting up signs around town to let people know where we are. Just showing up every place we possibly can to hand out leaflets for people so that they can give, because, of course, this is a really a project that's really near and dear to a lot of people. We just want to make sure that they know it's happening so that they can help.
This property seems to me, the preservation of it, so much about community character.
Oh, it definitely is. Community character, cultural resource. I think we are so lucky to have the Summer Baseball League. I don't think a lot of people may not even know about it. But to be able to go to Lowell Park or to any of the parks, watch kids hunt for the foul balls, eat popcorn, hot dogs, it really is a Norman Rockwell-like experience. And it's a family experience, and it's all free.
Now, what would happen to this land if it wasn't preserved?
That's a scary thing. This 19 acres surrounds the field, as I said, and part of the outfield of Lowell Park actually is on this 19 acres. So the biggest fear is if someone came in and decided to play hardball, no pun intended, with the town or with Barnstable Land Trust or the Kettleers, we could lose the field because the field then would not be big enough to play baseball. In fact, Coach Roberts believes that it wouldn't even be big enough for a Little League field. So our goal is to preserve the 19 acres, sell 3 acres to the town and unite that with the existing Lowell field, and then the rest of the 16 acres will be permanently protected by Barnstable Land Trust to be kept in its natural state with the tall trees ever standing.
And I always hear from land trust people that with so little land left to preserve on the Cape that they often look to properties like this one where there's already open space nearby so that you're actually preserving a bigger parcel when you preserve that land.
Yes, and interestingly enough, Laura, this is actually part of the Little River Corridor, which is one of the town's major open space zones. And the land itself connects up with the town cemetery, which then connects up with land owned by the Barnstable Land Trust, the Eagle Pond Sanctuary, and goes all the way up the Little River to the Cape Club properties that the town of Barnstable and Mashpee bought several years ago. So there's an 800-acre green belt connected pretty much, and this would be the southern anchor in that green belt. The great thing about it is, of course, that there's also a parking lot there so people can park there, and then once we acquire the land, our goal is to open up a trail that connects everything up.
A really exciting project. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Jaci Barton, Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust, and Polly Dana-Schumacher, who is on the Board of Directors of the Land Trust and is also co-chair of an upcoming fundraiser for the Land Trust, Gifts from the Sea. Now, Polly, tell us about this fundraiser, because this is really one of the biggest fundraisers that happens annually for the Land Trust, I think.
Absolutely it is, and this is our 21st year doing the event. An exciting year with a new venue this year. We'll be moving over to the Willow Bend Country Club, so giving people a different experience than we've had over the last several years. We've been in Cotuit under a tent, so we like to shake it up a little bit for our guests. Lots of traditional kinds of things will continue to happen that have always been popular, and that includes the raw bar and all the good food and the wonderful wine. And this year we're shaking up the live auction a little bit. We have one of the hottest destination points going on right now, and that's to Havana, Cuba. We are so excited to be able to offer our guests this opportunity. 6 nights. We have 2 different luxury apartments they can choose from, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, can accommodate 6. So we're urging people, get your friends together and think about this, and come and join us on July 19th for something that will be really extraordinary that we can offer, seeing Havana before all the unique character disappears from there.
That is an amazing... Now, that's one of the raffle items, is it?
That's one of the live auction items, and it will also be part of what we call the Grand Slam raffle, where we have 75 tickets at $100 apiece. All of our live auction items will be on that. People can choose one item. They choose that when they buy their raffle ticket. And the evening of the event, we will choose the winner, and they will have that choice of one of the live auction items. So it could be...
I will definitely be buying one of those tickets.
Oh, there's some wonderful things. And if people go to the website, blt.org, and click on Gifts from the Sea, they'll be able to see those things. And the raffle tickets will be available starting June 19th, and they can buy them online.
Now, the name of this fundraiser, Gifts from the Sea, I always have thought that seemed very appropriate for the Land Trust. Tell me how that came together.
Well, I think, Jaci, you were there at the beginning, so...
It's interesting, Laura. Friends of mine got married many years ago, and as their gift, I gave to them the organization of their rehearsal dinner. And we had the gifts from the sea, that is the oysters, the clams, the shrimp, as their rehearsal dinner food. And years later, I thought, as I was working for the Barnstable Land Trust, this is a theme that we could use for an event for us because, of course, people love raw bars. So it's grown from there. It started, out on the lawn of a home in Cotuit and just has been all over the town of Barnstable, and it has grown to be just a really wonderful and fun event.
And a lot of the work that the Land Trust does, a lot of the land that you preserve has a connection to the sea.
Absolutely. All of it does.
And so that's such an important part of what you're doing is protecting the water as you're protecting the land. Now, when people participate in this fundraiser or other fundraisers that you folks do, how is the money used? Does it go right to, for instance, the Cotuit purchase?
Well, it depends upon the particular fundraiser, but we need to raise money annually from the community. We are community-based. And then we also have these major projects. And so depending upon where we need the money the most, we ask donors accordingly. Gifts from the Sea helps annually to pay our operating expenses. But during Gifts from the Sea, we also make an ask, we call it Fund a Cause, for the project of the moment. This one happens to be Gifts from the Sea. Last year, the trees from Lowell Park showed up to help promote the event, and that was a lot of fun. So basically, it depends on the event.
And of course, the Cotuit purchase is such a big focus now for the next few months. One thing I've thought was very interesting that the Land Trust does, and I think it's essentially year-round, is you run walks in some of your own properties and areas that people might not even know about.
We do. And again, they can go to the website and look to see what those walks and talks are. We did one at Sandy. I think we've done two at Sandy Neck already this year. We're working in concert with the town of Barnstable, Nina Coleman, ranger at Sandy Neck, to help promote the resources, not just our own land, but the resources throughout the town. I know on Halloween, that's too far to think ahead, but we do one of the graveyard in Cotuit with Jim Gould, Professor Jim Gould, who people just love because of his historical knowledge.
It's always a treat to hear him talk about the history of the town. And I would think that a number of people who go on these walks, that sometimes they might not even know this particular area exists or the details behind it.
Right. There's always something to learn.
And now you have another big event coming up, a run, is that right? Tell me about that.
2 weeks after Gifts from the Sea, we have our second annual Green Run. That's Sunday, August 2nd, and it got its roots, so to speak, from the Lowell Park project. So it begins at Lowell Field and ends at Lowell Field, but it leaves there and runs down to Loop Beach and back. It's a 5K race. It starts at 9:30. Last year we had about 200 people, and we hope that we'll have twice that many this year. Great opportunity for runners and walkers, and a great opportunity for kids. We have a couple of events beforehand for kids because we really want to get them involved in helping to protect nature as well.
And one thing I'm often hearing from people involved with land trusts is that there are these tax benefits from people who donate to land trusts and also put conservation restrictions on their properties, and they can do that with your help. Is that right?
That's correct. There are federal, state, and local tax benefits. There is a program at the state for a state tax credit, which if land qualifies, helps us to raise the money necessary to purchase a piece of property. So if someone has a piece of property that they would like to see in conservation, but they can't necessarily afford to give it away, we'll do everything we can within our means to help them raise the money necessary.
And I think over the years, the over 1,000 acres that the Land Trust has preserved, it's really in all parts of town. Isn't that right, throughout the 7 villages of Barnstable?
Absolutely, yes.
What are some of the different parcels that people might know about that the Land Trust has been involved in preserving?
Well, probably the most high-profile property that we have is the Eagle Pond Sanctuary in Cotuit. It's the only area in the town of Barnstable that's privately owned where you can completely circumnavigate a pond. Beautiful piece of property that you can just simply walk in and go around the pond, or you can continue on down to Bell Farm, and with a little bit of luck, you'll be able to continue on down to Lowell Field as well.
And anyone can walk there. Really, they can go
correct,
on.
Correct.
Yes.
It's a popular, probably one of the most popular properties. The other thing that people don't know a lot about is the Cape Cod Pathways, which is all over town, but we just finished a project last year in Barnstable Village, which basically takes you from between the Coast Guard Museum and the blacksmith shop over on Route 6A at Finney's Lane, back south and then across Finney's Lane back into the woods, and you can basically go all the way over to the Cape Cod Community College from there. So it's a beautiful long walk through the woods.
And a very historic walk.
Exactly.
Through that old, beautiful section of town. Now, in the last few minutes that we have left, anything else to let people know about and maybe a reminder about the upcoming fundraiser?
Well, we sure hope people will join us on July 19th out at Willow Bend and check out the website at blt.org. We have so many people who return year after year to the event, and we're looking to have new people come and explore and find out who we are and what we do.
And to find out more about the Barnstable Land Trust?
Yeah, www.blt.org or 508-771-2585. And we're there 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we'll call you back if we happen to be on the other line. But the bottom line is we hope that everybody will come out and enjoy the natural resources, the abundant beauty that surrounds us.
And the website, I think, has a list of walks and different things going on that you folks sponsor. And unfortunately, we're out of time. I've been talking to Jaci Barton, Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust, and Polly Dana-Schumacher, who is on the Board of Directors of the Land Trust and who is co-chairing the Land Trust's big upcoming fundraiser, Gifts from the Sea, on July 19th. Thank you both for being with me here today.
Thank you,
Thank
Laura.
you.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.